While my daughter fought for her life, her husband was celebrating on a yacht. I'm standing in the ICU at Mercy General Hospital in Seattle, watching Emily's chest rise and fall with the ventilator. Room 314. The machines beep steadily. Her wedding ring catches the fluorescent light. James hasn't been here in 3 days, but I know exactly where he is because Rachel posted it all over Instagram. The champagne, the sunset, the woman in the red bikini. Who isn't my daughter? A $47,000 yacht rental. Slip number 47 at Puget Sound Marina. While Emily's brain swells from the impact, the head nurse, Susan, pulls me aside at 11:47 p.m. 23 years she's worked here. She's seen everything. "Mr. Thompson," she whispers, "there's something you need to know about your son-in-law." Her hands are shaking as she shows me the clipboard. What I discovered that night changed everything. The next morning, I arrive at the hospital at 6 a.m. sharp. 30 years as a family court judge taught me the value of being early, being prepared. The security guard at the ICU entrance stops me. "Sorry, sir. Family access has been restricted to immediate family only." Doctor's orders. I show him my visitor badge, the same one I've used for 2 weeks. "That's been revoked, sir." Dr. Carter left specific instructions. Dr. Carter, James, my own son-in-law, has banned me from seeing my daughter. I call him. Straight to voicemail. I call the hospital administration. They'll look into it and get back to me. I sit in the parking lot for 3 hours. Nothing. At 2:30 p.m., Susan Miller finds me in the cafeteria. She's off duty, still wearing her scrubs. Her badge says 23 years of service. "Judge Thompson, I could lose my job for this." She slides a manila folder across the table. Inside, photocopied medical charts. Emily's charts. "Look at the signature on the DNR order. Do not resuscitate." I read it twice. The handwriting doesn't match James's usual scrawl. Too neat, too careful. "This was filed yesterday at 3:17 p.m., Susan says, right after Dr. Carter got back from his weekend trip. I study the timestamp. James was still on the yacht when this was supposedly signed. I saw Rachel's Instagram story. They didn't dock until 4:30 p.m. "There's more," Susan whispers. "The attending physician, Dr. Larson, never signed off on this. Hospital policy requires 2 signatures for DNR orders. This only has 1. Forged documents. In 30 years on the bench, I've seen plenty." Susan pulls out her phone, shows me a photo from the nurse's station computer screen. "Visitor log for room 314, last 14 days. I count the entries. James Carter, October 15th, 7:22 p.m. October 18th, 11:45 a.m. That's it. 2 visits in 2 weeks. The other nurses are talking," Susan says about the phone calls. "What phone calls?" "To the insurance company. Dr. Carter has been calling them daily asking about life insurance policies, death benefits. He thinks we don't hear him in the consultation room, but the walls are thin. $2.3 million. Emily's life insurance policy. I remember when she bought it, James insisted on the amount. "We need to protect our future," he said. Susan checks her watch. "I have to go, but Judge Thompson, there's something else about your granddaughter. Lily, 6 years old. Emily's everything. Dr. Carter filed papers with Child Protective Services yesterday, claiming you're too old to care for Lily if something happens to Emily. Says you have early-stage dementia. The lie hits me like a physical blow. I had a routine cognitive assessment last month. Perfect scores, clean bill of health. He's trying to isolate her." Susan says, "Cut off everyone who cares about Emily. It's a pattern we see sometimes." Usually right before. She doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't need to. My phone buzzes. Text message from James. "Robert, we need to talk. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., my office." Not Dad, not Bob. Robert. I look at Susan, this woman risking her career to warn me. "Thank you," I tell her. She stands to leave, then turns back. Judge Thompson. In 23 years, I've never seen a husband refuse to hold his wife's hand. Not once. That night I sit in Emily's room. Visiting hours are over, but I know which entrance the night security guard doesn't monitor. Old courthouse habits. I hold her hand. It's warm. Her pulse is steady under my thumb. The machines show brain activity. Not the flat line of someone beyond hope, the complex patterns of someone fighting to come back. I think about the yacht photos. James's arm around Rachel, both of them laughing while Emily's brain was swelling. At 11:47 p.m., I make a decision that will change everything. I pull out my phone and dial a number I haven't used in 2 years. Mike Russo, Private Investigations. Mike, it's Bob Thompson. Remember that favor you owe me? 23 years ago, I presided over Mike's divorce case, helped him keep custody of his kids when his ex-wife tried to disappear with them. Former FBI white-collar crime specialist. Now he traces cheating spouses and financial fraud. Judge Thompson, what do you need? I need you to investigate my son-in-law. Everything. Financial records, phone records, that yacht he's been posting about. I want to know how a resident surgeon affords a $47,000 weekend. What's the timeline? I look at Emily's face. Peaceful, fighting. Yesterday. The phone call ends. I write a check from my retirement account. $25,000 Mike's retainer fee. What James doesn't know is that Rachel's yacht photos revealed something she never intended to show. The call comes at 7:23 a.m. I'm having coffee in Emily's room, reading her the morning news like I did when she was little. The sports section. She always loved baseball. Robert, we need to discuss Emily's situation. James's voice, cold, clinical, like he's discussing a patient, not his wife. Her situation. I keep my voice level. 30 years of family court taught me never to show emotion on the first move. Let's be realistic here. The brain scans show significant trauma. The neurologist says recovery is unlikely. I watch Emily's chest rise and fall. Steady, strong. Which neurologist? A pause. Dr. Bennett. He's the best in the state. I write down the name. Mike will check that too. Robert, I know this is difficult, but I have to think about Lily's future, about my practice. I can't put my life on hold indefinitely. Your life? I repeat the word slowly. Yes, Emily would want me to move on, to find happiness. I think about Rachel in the red bikini, about the champagne photos posted while Emily was having emergency brain surgery. James, are you familiar with Washington's community property laws? Another pause, longer this time. I don't see why that's relevant. Well, as Emily's husband, you're entitled to 50% of her assets, including the life insurance policy, but only if you're still married when she dies. The silence stretches. I can hear him breathing. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating a fact. $2.3 million is a lot of money for someone with your expenses. My expenses? The yacht rental, $47,000 for the weekend. That's what Rachel posted on Instagram. Puget Sound Marina, slip 47. Beautiful photos. I hear a sharp intake of breath. You've been watching Rachel's social media. James, I'm a family court judge, retired but trained. I notice things, like how someone affords a weekend yacht rental on a resident's salary, or why someone files a DNR order while they're still on the water. I don't know what you're talking about. The timestamp, James, 3:17 p.m. Yesterday, but Rachel's Instagram story shows you didn't dock until 4:30 p.m. Basic mathematics. The mask is starting to slip. Good. Look, Robert, I understand you're upset, but Emily is brain dead. The machines are keeping her alive, but she's not coming back. Dr. Bennett confirmed it. Interesting, because I called Dr. Bennett this morning. He says he's never examined Emily, never even heard of her. Silence. You must have misunderstood. James. I let his name hang in the air. I spent 30 years listening to liars in my courtroom. You're not very good at it. What do you want? There it is. The real question. I want you to stop filing false DNR orders. I want you to stop lying to insurance companies. And I want you to visit your wife. Or what? I smile. He can't see it, but I know he can hear it in my voice. Or I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of husband you really are. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you. There's a difference. A long pause. When he speaks again, his voice has changed. Lower, meaner. Listen carefully, old man. I'm a Harvard-trained surgeon. You're a washed-up small-town judge who can barely remember what day it is. Emily's going to die, and when she does, I'm going to remarry. Lily will have a new mother, a functioning one. The words hit like a physical slap, but my voice stays steady. Interesting choice of words. I'll remember that. And another thing, you're not welcome at this hospital anymore. I've made sure of that. Security has your photo. Try to visit Emily again, and they'll call the police. I think about Susan risking her job to warn me, about the nurses who've watched James abandon his wife. James, do you know what I learned in 30 years of family court? What? The husband who fights hardest to keep people away from his dying wife usually has something to hide. You don't know anything. I know Rachel's real name is Rachel Lee, 26 years old, works at Coastal Medical Billing, the same company that handles your hospital's insurance claims. I hear him fumble the phone. I know she's been accessing patient insurance records, including Emily's. That's a federal crime, by the way. HIPAA violations carry serious penalties. You're bluffing. I know you've taken Rachel to Canlis 47 times in the past 18 months. Average cost per meal, $430. That's $20,000 in restaurant bills alone on a resident's salary. My voice drops to a whisper. And I know you've been planning this for 3 years, James, since the day Emily increased her life insurance policy. The line goes quiet. I can hear his breathing, fast, shallow. You have no proof. Not yet. I hang up. At 7:31 a.m., I call Mike Russo. How fast can you get me financial records for Dr. James Carter? Credit cards, bank statements, property records. Give me 24 hours. Make it 12. His next words made me understand why Emily had been pulling away from James these past few months, why she'd been asking about divorce lawyers, why she'd been scared. At 3:17 a.m., I'm sitting beside Emily's bed. The ICU is quiet except for the machines. Her hand is warm in mine. I've been thinking about James's words. Washed-up small-town judge. Can barely remember what day it is. 30 years. 30 years of protecting families, of making sure children went to safe homes, of stopping abusers and manipulators. And now my own daughter needs protecting. I pull out my phone. Mike's preliminary report came in an hour ago. I read it again by the blue light of the monitors. James Carter, age 38, Harvard Medical, class of 2012. Surgical resident at Mercy General. Salary $58,000 annually. Expenses in the past 6 months, $127,000. The math doesn't work. Yacht rentals, $47,000. Jewelry purchases at Tiffany & Co., $23,000, all for Rachel Lee. Dinners at Canlis, 47 times, $20,340 total. A Rolex watch, $18,000. I remember seeing it on his wrist, the nervous tapping when he'd visit Emily. Where does a resident get that kind of money? I keep reading. James has been accessing Emily's financial accounts, joint accounts, yes, but also her individual investment portfolio, the one from her father's estate, her trust fund. $340,000 withdrawn in the past 4 months. Small amounts. Nothing that would trigger bank alerts, but steady, systematic theft. I think about Emily at age 8, pigtails flying as she ran toward me after school. Daddy, guess what I learned today? Always curious, always trusting. She trusted James. My phone buzzes. Text from James. Change of plans. Meeting moved to tomorrow. Don't contact me again. He's scared. Good. But there's something else in Mike's report that makes my blood freeze. Life insurance inquiry records. James has been calling Mutual of Washington every week for the past month. Same questions every time. What documentation is required for death benefit claims? How quickly are payments processed? Can claims be expedited in cases of medical emergency? He's not just planning Emily's death, he's timing it. I stand up, walk to the window. The parking lot is empty except for a few cars, night shift workers, people like Susan who actually care about their patients. That's when I make the decision. I'm not just going to stop James, I'm going to destroy him. At 3:45 a.m., I drive to my house. Haven't been home in 4 days. The mail is piling up. Bills, advertisements. A letter from Lily's school asking about her absences. Lily, 6 years old, brown hair like Emily's. Same curious eyes. James wants to take her away from me, Claims I have dementia, that I'm too old to care for her. I go to my study, pull out the file cabinet, third drawer, back left corner, the manila folder I haven't touched in 2 years, my retirement savings, $847,000. Careful investments over 30 years. My plan was to leave it all to Emily and Lily. I write a check for $50,000. Mike Russo gets a raise. Then I call my attorney, Karen Walsh. We've known each other for 25 years. She handled my wife's estate when she died. Bob, it's 4 in the morning. Karen, I need you to file an emergency petition. Temporary guardianship of my granddaughter. I have reason to believe she's in danger. What kind of danger? I tell her about the forged DNR, the insurance calls, the financial theft, James's threats to take Lily away. My God, Bob, are you sure about this? Karen, I've spent 30 years watching bad people hurt good families. I'm not going to let it happen to mine. What do you need? Full financial investigation, forensic accounting. I want every penny James has stolen, every lie he's told, every law he's broken. That's expensive, Bob. I think about Emily's trust fund, the money James has been stealing to buy jewelry for his mistress. Money isn't the issue. At 6 a.m., I'm back at the hospital. I know which entrance security doesn't monitor. Old habits from my courthouse days. Emily looks the same. Peaceful. Fighting. I lean close to her ear. Sweetheart, Daddy's here, and I'm going to make sure you're safe. Lily, too. Her heart rate increases slightly on the monitor. Just for a moment. She can hear me. At 6:15 a.m., my phone rings. Karen Walsh. Bob, I've been thinking about your case. There's something you should know about forensic accounting investigations. What? They don't just find stolen money. They find everything. Every hidden account. Every false document. Every federal crime. I smile for the first time in weeks. How soon can we start? What Rachel didn't know about her yacht photos would destroy them both. Dr. Lee arrives at 8:30 a.m. sharp. Forensic accountant. 22 years with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit before going private. Karen recommended her. Judge Thompson, I've reviewed the preliminary materials your investigator provided. We're sitting in my study. Coffee growing cold. Emily's high school graduation photo smiles at us from the mantel. What's your assessment, Dr. Lee? Your son-in-law is either incredibly stupid or incredibly arrogant. Possibly both. She opens her laptop. Spreadsheets fill the screen. Numbers I recognize from Emily's bank statements. He's been systematic. Small withdrawals from the joint account. Nothing over $10,000 to avoid federal reporting requirements, but he made a crucial mistake. He used his hospital ID to access the transfers. Every transaction has a digital fingerprint, timestamps, IP addresses, location data. She clicks to another screen. October 8th, 2:47 p.m. Withdrew $8,500 from Emily's trust fund. The hospital system shows he was in surgery at that exact time. Appendectomy on a 12-year-old patient. Impossible to be in two places at once. More importantly, the withdrawals correlate perfectly with his expenses. October 9th, he spent $8,200 at Tiffany & Co. Bought Rachel Lee a diamond tennis bracelet. Dr. Lee shows me the receipt. Emily's money, buying jewelry for James's mistress, while Emily lay unconscious in the ICU. How much total? $340,000 over 4 months. But that's just what I found in 3 hours of searching. My phone rings. Mike Russo. Judge, you need to hear this. I've been monitoring James's communications. That's legal. He's been calling Rachel on the hospital's landline. Public record. And Judge, the conversations are being automatically recorded. Hospital policy for quality assurance. I put the call on speaker. What did you find? October 15th, 9:22 p.m. James to Rachel. Don't worry about the old man. Emily will be gone soon, and then we'll have everything. The words hit like ice water. There's more. October 18th, 11:47 a.m. The insurance company says they need a death certificate within 48 hours for expedited processing. I can arrange that. Dr. Lee stops typing, looks up at me. Judge Thompson, that's conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, a federal crime, 20 years minimum. I think about James's confident voice on the phone yesterday. I'm a Harvard-trained surgeon. You're a washed-up small-town judge. Mike, what else? Hospital security footage. James hasn't just been avoiding Emily's room. He's been actively steering other doctors away, telling them she's too far gone for consultation, preventing second opinions. Medical negligence, another federal crime. And Judge, remember those Instagram photos Rachel posted from the yacht? What about them? GPS metadata. They weren't just partying while Emily was dying. They were celebrating. Mike sends me the photo files. I open them on Dr. Lee's laptop. October 15th, 4:23 p.m. James and Rachel on the yacht. Champagne glasses raised. Rachel's caption, "To New Beginnings." The timestamp shows this was posted exactly 37 minutes after Emily's emergency brain surgery began. Dr. Lee, is this enough for criminal charges? Judge, this is enough to destroy him financially, professionally, and legally. At 10:15 a.m., I make my first move. I call Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, Chief of Staff at Mercy General. We served together on the hospital board 5 years ago. Elizabeth, I need to report a serious ethics violation. What kind of violation, Bob? A doctor accessing patient financial records without authorization, using hospital systems to commit theft, falsifying medical documents. Silence on the line. That's extremely serious, Bob. Are you certain? I have documentation, bank records, timestamps, recorded conversations. And Elizabeth, the doctor is using stolen money to fund an extramarital affair while his wife lies unconscious in your ICU. My God, who is it? Dr. James Carter. Another silence. Longer. Bob, I'll need to see the evidence. Dr. Lee will deliver it within the hour. Full forensic report. But Elizabeth, there's something else. James has been preventing other doctors from examining his wife, telling them she's beyond help when the brain scans show clear activity. That's medical negligence, potential malpractice. It gets worse. He's been calling insurance companies asking about death benefit procedures while actively preventing treatment that could save her life. I hear Elizabeth typing rapidly. Bob, I'm calling an emergency medical board meeting this afternoon. Can you be there? I wouldn't miss it. At 11:30 a.m., my phone rings. Unknown number, Judge Thompson. This is Nurse Patricia Evans, ICU night shift. Yes, I heard through Susan Miller that you're investigating Dr. Carter. There's something you need to know. What is it? Last night, Dr. Carter came to the ICU at 2 a.m. He wasn't scheduled. He went directly to your daughter's room with a syringe. My blood freezes. What happened? I stopped him, asked what medication he was administering. He got angry, said it was routine care. But Judge Thompson, the syringe wasn't labeled. No medical order in the chart. Where is it now? I secured it. Hospital protocol for suspicious medications. It's being tested by the lab. At 12:45 p.m., Dr. Lee calls. Judge Thompson, the lab results came back. What was in the syringe? Potassium chloride, concentrated, enough to stop a heart in minutes. James had tried to murder my daughter. The nurses had been watching everything, and now they were ready to testify. I find James in the hospital parking garage at 1:47 p.m., level 3 near the doctor's reserved spaces. He's walking toward his Tesla, medical bag in hand. James, he freezes, turns around slowly. The confidence from yesterday's phone call is gone. His face is pale. Robert, what are you doing here? I thought security had your photo. They do, but you know what's interesting about security cameras? I step closer. He takes a step back. They record everything, including doctors wandering the ICU at 2 a.m. with unmarked syringes. His hand trembles as he reaches for his car keys, the same hand that tried to inject my daughter with poison. I don't know what you're talking about. Potassium chloride, James. Concentrated enough to stop a heart in minutes. The keys fall from his shaking fingers, clatter on the concrete. That was routine medication. Really? Because Nurse Evans couldn't find any medical order for it. No doctor's signature, no pharmacy record. I pick up his keys, hold them in my palm. You know what else is interesting? Hospital policy requires all medications to be labeled. This one wasn't. James's expensive suit is wrinkled. Probably slept in it. The Rolex watch he bought with Emily's money catches the fluorescent light. How's the yacht, James? He flinches like I've slapped him. Rachel's photos were beautiful, the champagne toast while Emily was in surgery. Very romantic. You've been stalking us. I've been protecting my daughter from her husband, who's been stealing her money to buy jewelry for his mistress. I step closer. James backs against his car. $127,000 in 4 months. That's impressive theft for someone who makes $58,000 a year. That money was from our joint account. Emily's trust fund isn't a joint account, James. It's individual, and you've been accessing it illegally. His face goes white. You can't prove that. I pull out my phone, show him Dr. Lee's forensic report. Timestamps, James. You withdrew $8,500 on October 8th at 2:47 p.m., but hospital records show you were in surgery. Appendectomy on a 12-year-old. He stares at the screen. Unless you've learned to be in 2 places at once, that's computer fraud, a federal crime. What do you want? The same question from yesterday's phone call, but now his voice is different, smaller. I want you to confess. To what? Attempted murder, insurance fraud, theft, medical negligence. Take your pick. James looks around the parking garage, empty except for us. No witnesses to his humiliation. You're insane. Am I? Because Dr. Rogers called an emergency medical board meeting for 3 p.m. today. They want to discuss your extracurricular activities. His hands are shaking so hard he can't hold his coffee cup steady. They can't do that without evidence. Evidence? James, I have bank records showing you stole $340,000. Recorded phone calls where you discussed killing Emily for insurance money. Hospital footage of you trying to inject her with poison. I hand him his car keys. But here's what really interests me. Rachel's Instagram account has been deleted. Her apartment lease was terminated yesterday and she called in sick to work this morning. James's mouth opens, closes. No sound comes out. Funny thing about accomplices, James, when things get hot, they run. Rachel wouldn't. She loves me. She loves your money. Emily's money. But now that the FBI is involved, she's probably somewhere with no extradition treaty. I turn to walk away, then pause. Oh, and James, Lily won't be needing a new stepmother because you won't be around to provide one. His coffee cup falls to the concrete. Shatters. Como News had questions James couldn't answer. The news breaks at 6 p.m. Como's investigative team. Tonight at 6, a prominent Seattle surgeon accused of attempting to murder his comatose wife while stealing hundreds of thousands from her accounts to fund an affair. I'm watching from Emily's room. Visiting restrictions mysteriously lifted after my conversation with Dr. Rogers. The reporter, Lisa Nguyen, stands outside Mercy General. Professional, relentless. Dr. James Carter, a surgical resident here at Mercy General, is under investigation for multiple felonies, including attempted murder, insurance fraud, and theft of marital assets exceeding $300,000. They show James's photo, the one from the hospital website, smiling, confident. Sources tell Como News that Dr. Carter was caught on security cameras attempting to inject his comatose wife with a lethal dose of potassium chloride while she recovered from a traumatic brain injury. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. Judge Thompson, this is Rachel. We need to talk. I show the text to Mike Russo. He's been sitting with me since 4 p.m., waiting for James's response to the media coverage. She's scared, Mike says, probably trying to cut a deal. Should I respond? Not yet. Let's see what James does first. On screen, Lisa Nguyen continues her report. Hospital records show Dr. Carter visited his wife only twice in 3 weeks, while spending lavishly on his girlfriend, including a $47,000 yacht rental posted on social media during his wife's emergency brain surgery. They show the Instagram photos. James and Rachel with champagne glasses. The timestamp, October 15th, 4:23 p.m. Emily Thompson Carter was fighting for her life while her husband celebrated with another woman. The camera cuts to an interview. Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, Chief of Staff. We take these allegations extremely seriously. Dr. Carter has been suspended pending a full investigation. Patient safety is our highest priority. My phone rings. James. You did this. His voice is different, desperate, angry. Did what, James? Called the media. Destroyed my reputation, my career. I watch Emily's peaceful face, the steady rise and fall of her chest. I didn't call anyone, James. But when you try to murder someone in a hospital, word tends to get out. I wasn't trying to murder her. That was medication. Potassium chloride isn't medication, James. It's what they use in lethal injections. Silence on the line. The reporters are calling me, asking about the money, about Rachel. Where is Rachel, by the way? She's staying with friends. Really? Because her landlord says she moved out yesterday, paid the lease termination fee in cash, $8,000. I hear him breathing, fast, shallow. You're destroying my life. You destroyed your own life the moment you decided my daughter was worth more dead than alive. The news report continues. Now they're showing the hospital parking lot, the same garage where I confronted James 6 hours ago. Dr. Carter refused our request for an interview, but sources say he appeared visibly shaken when confronted with evidence of his alleged crimes. They cut to footage of James leaving the hospital, stumbling, his Tesla parked crooked across 2 spaces. The FBI's white-collar crime division has opened a formal investigation. If convicted, Dr. Carter could face up to 30 years in federal prison. James's voice comes through the phone, barely a whisper. 30 years. Insurance fraud is a federal crime, James. So is attempted murder and computer fraud and medical negligence. I need a lawyer. You need several lawyers, different specialties, criminal defense, medical malpractice, federal crimes. That's going to be expensive. I don't have money for lawyers. You have $127,000 worth of jewelry. Of course, you'd have to get it back from Rachel first. Another silence. She's not answering her phone. Funny thing about accomplices, James. When the FBI gets involved, they start thinking about cooperation agreements. The news report ends with a number for tips. If you have information about this case, please call our investigative hotline. My phone immediately starts buzzing. Unknown numbers. Reporters wanting quotes. I turn it off. At 7:30 p.m., Mike shows me Rachel's new Instagram account. Different name, Area.Lee Travels. Posted from SeaTac Airport 2 hours ago. Flight to Vancouver, Mike says. Then probably somewhere without extradition treaties. I look at the photo. Rachel in first class, champagne glass raised, the same pose from the yacht, but this time she's alone. The caption, new chapter. James's partner in crime had abandoned ship. His life was unraveling exactly as planned. The forensic accountant's final report arrives at 9 a.m. 147 pages. Every transaction, every lie, every crime. Dr. Lee sits across from me in Karen Walsh's conference room. 3 boxes of evidence on the table between us. Judge Thompson. In 22 years of financial investigations, I've rarely seen fraud this systematic. She opens the first box. Bank statements, credit card records, hospital access logs. James Carter didn't just steal money. He created an entire false identity to cover his tracks. What do you mean? He opened accounts under variations of his name. J. Carter, James C. Carter, Dr. J. Carter. Each one linked to different aspects of the theft. She shows me the paper trail. Emily's trust fund money flowing through multiple accounts before ending up in James's hands. October 3rd, $12,000 withdrawn from Emily's trust. October 4th, $12,000 deposited into the J. Carter account. October 5th, $11,800 spent at Tiffany & Co. A diamond necklace for Rachel, paid for with Emily's inheritance from her grandfather. The sophistication suggests this wasn't impulsive. He's been planning this for years. Dr. Lee opens the second box. Insurance documents. Life insurance policy taken out 18 months ago. $2.3 million. But here's what's interesting. The medical exam required for such a large policy. She hands me the file. The examining physician was Dr. Stephen Brooks, retired cardiologist, lives in Phoenix now. I called him yesterday. He has no record of examining Emily Carter. Never heard of her. Another forged document. But the insurance company has the exam results on file. Perfect health. No risk factors. Signed by Dr. Brooks. I study the signature. Different handwriting than James's usual style, but similar to the forged DNR order. He's been practicing forgery. Gets better. The insurance policy has a double indemnity clause. Accidental death pays $4.6 million. Emily's car accident, the one that put her in the ICU. Dr. Lee, was Emily's accident really an accident? She opens a third box. Police reports, accident reconstruction photos. I requested the traffic incident report. Emily's brakes failed completely. No mechanical problems with the car, but the brake lines showed signs of tampering. The photos show Emily's Toyota Camry wrapped around a tree. The brake line cut clean through. Someone sabotaged her car. The police didn't investigate further because it appeared to be mechanical failure. But a forensic mechanic I hired says the cut was made with surgical tools. James had tried to kill Emily twice. First the car, then the poison. My phone rings. Mike Russo. Judge, I've been monitoring James's communications. He just made a very interesting phone call. To whom? His malpractice insurance company, asking about coverage for criminal defense. Even now, James was thinking about protecting himself. There's more. I traced his recent financial activity. He's been liquidating assets, sold his car yesterday, withdrew his entire 401k, cleaned out the joint checking account. He's running. Looks like it. But Judge, there's something else. Remember that syringe from the hospital? The one with potassium chloride? What about it? Lab found fingerprints, James's, but also trace amounts of insulin. Dr. Lee looks up from the evidence files. Insulin mixed with potassium chloride would mask the cause of death. Look like diabetic shock instead of poisoning. How long would Emily have survived? Minutes, maybe less. I think about Nurse Evans stopping James in the ICU, if she hadn't intervened. Dr. Lee, what's our total evidence count? She consults her laptop. Financial crimes, 47 separate incidents of theft, totaling $340,000. Insurance fraud, 8 forged documents. Attempted murder, 2 documented attempts. Medical negligence, 15 instances of patient abandonment. She closes the laptop. Judge Thompson, this case is bulletproof. Even if half the evidence were thrown out, there's enough to convict on multiple felonies. At 11:30 a.m., FBI Special Agent Maria Lopez calls. Judge Thompson, we've issued federal warrants for James Carter and Rachel Lee. Bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit murder. Have you found them? Rachel Lee was arrested at Vancouver International Airport attempting to board a flight to Dubai. She's being extradited. And James? Still at large. But Judge Thompson, we found something in Rachel's luggage that might interest you. What? A laptop computer with detailed records of the insurance fraud scheme. Email conversations planning your daughter's murder. And Judge Thompson? Yes. Time-stamped photographs of them celebrating what they called the successful accident the night Emily was injured. They had documented their own crimes. The forensic accountant's discovery made even me gasp. The courtroom is packed, standing room only. I haven't seen this much public interest since the Peterson murder trial in 2018. Department 12, King County Family Court, the same courtroom where I presided for 15 years. Now I'm sitting at the petitioner's table, fighting for my granddaughter's future. Judge Laura Martinez presides. Sharp, fair. I trained her when she was a junior prosecutor. James sits across the aisle with his attorney, Daniel Klein. Expensive suit, but Klein looks nervous. He's been handed an impossible case. The gallery buzzes with whispers. Hospital staff, reporters, FBI agents in the back row. Lily sits beside me, 6 years old, brown hair and pigtails, just like Emily at her age. Is Mommy going to be okay, Grandpa? Yes, sweetheart. Mommy's going to be fine. Judge Martinez calls the session to order. This is an emergency custody hearing in the matter of Carter versus Thompson. Petitioner seeks temporary guardianship of minor child Lily Carter. Klein stands first. Your Honor, Dr. James Carter is the child's natural father and primary custodian. Mr. Thompson's petition is based on unsubstantiated allegations. Objection. Karen Walsh rises. The allegations are substantiated by federal criminal charges, Your Honor. Sustained. Mr. Klein, please stick to custody issues for now. Klein shuffles his papers. He knows he's fighting a losing battle. Your Honor, Dr. Carter is a respected surgeon with no prior criminal history. Mr. Thompson is 62 years old and lacks the energy to care for a young child. Judge Martinez looks at me. Slight smile. Mr. Klein, are you familiar with Judge Thompson's professional record? Yes, Your Honor. 30 years on the same bench, presided over thousands of family cases, never reversed on appeal. I think his qualifications speak for themselves. Karen stands. Your Honor, we'd like to call our first witness, Nurse Susan Miller. Susan walks to the witness stand. 23 years of service badge gleaming on her uniform. She's risked her career to be here. Nurse Miller, did you witness Dr. Carter attempting to administer medication to his wife without proper authorization? Yes. October 20th, 2:17 a.m. He came to the ICU with an unmarked syringe. When I asked for the medical order, he became hostile. What was in the syringe? Potassium chloride, concentrated enough to cause cardiac arrest. Gasps from the gallery. James stares at the table. In your professional opinion, would this medication have killed Emily Carter? Without question. Karen continues. How many times did Dr. Carter visit his wife during her 3-week hospitalization? Twice. Both visits lasted less than 10 minutes. Did he ever hold her hand, show physical affection? Never. In 23 years, I've never seen a husband refuse to touch his dying wife. Klein tries cross-examination, but there's nothing to attack. Susan's testimony is devastating. Karen calls Mike Russo next. Mr. Russo, what did your investigation reveal about Dr. Carter's financial activities? $340,000 stolen from his wife's accounts over 4 months? Used to fund an extramarital affair while she was hospitalized. Mike displays the evidence. Bank records projected on the courtroom screen. October 15th, $8,500 withdrawn from Emily's trust fund. Same day, $8,200 spent at Tiffany & Co. for jewelry given to Rachel Lee. The numbers tell the story. Every theft, every betrayal. Did Dr. Carter attempt to access life insurance benefits? Yes. Multiple calls to insurance companies asking about death benefit procedures, while simultaneously preventing medical treatment that could save his wife's life. Judge Martinez takes notes. Her expression grows darker with each revelation. Karen calls Dr. Lee to the stand. Dr. Lee, in your expert opinion, was this theft random or systematic? Highly systematic. Dr. Carter created false identities, forged documents, and manipulated hospital computer systems. This required months of planning. What was his apparent objective? To kill his wife and collect $4.6 million in insurance money while maintaining plausible deniability. The courtroom erupts. Judge Martinez gavels for order. Klein stands for cross-examination, but his heart isn't in it. Dr. Lee, isn't it possible these were legitimate medical decisions complicated by emotional stress? No. Potassium chloride is not a legitimate medication for brain injury patients. It's used for lethal injection. Klein sits down. No further questions. Karen calls her final witness. Your Honor, we call Special Agent Maria Lopez, FBI Financial Crimes Division. The federal agent takes the stand. Badge visible, authority unquestioned. Agent Lopez, what federal crimes is Dr. Carter charged with? Wire fraud, bank fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, and insurance fraud? Total potential sentence? Life in prison. Has his accomplice been apprehended? Rachel Lee was arrested attempting to flee the country. She's cooperating with our investigation. What did Miss Lee reveal? Detailed records of the murder plot, including photographs celebrating what they called the successful accident the night Mrs. Carter was injured. James's head snaps up. First emotion he's shown all day. Agent Lopez, was Mrs. Carter's car accident really an accident? No. Forensic analysis shows her brake lines were deliberately severed using surgical instruments. The gallery explodes, reporters frantically taking notes. James slumps in his chair. Judge Martinez calls for order again. Mr. Klein, does your client wish to testify? Klein whispers urgently with James. James shakes his head. No, Your Honor. Defense rests. Karen stands for closing arguments. Your Honor, James Carter is a monster. He tried to murder his wife twice. He stole her money to buy jewelry for his mistress. He abandoned his child to party on yachts while his wife fought for her life. She points to Lily. This little girl deserves better. She deserves a guardian who will protect her, not exploit her. Klein's closing is brief, half-hearted. Your Honor, despite these serious allegations, Dr. Carter remains Lily's father. Biology matters. Judge Martinez doesn't even pause to deliberate. I've heard enough. Emergency guardianship is granted to Robert Thompson, effective immediately. She looks directly at James. Dr. Carter, your parental rights are suspended, pending resolution of criminal charges. You will have no unsupervised contact with the minor child. James's expensive watch catches the light as he covers his face. Not the Rolex anymore. That was sold to pay legal fees. Furthermore, all marital assets are frozen pending forensic accounting. Mr. Thompson is appointed conservator of Emily Carter's estate. The gavel comes down. Lily tugs on my sleeve. Grandpa, does this mean I get to live with you? Yes, sweetheart, for as long as you want. In the hallway, reporters swarm, cameras flash, microphones thrust forward. Judge Thompson, how do you feel about your victory? I think about Emily, still fighting in her hospital bed. About Lily, finally safe from her father's greed. This isn't about victory, it's about protecting family. What's next for Dr. Carter? That's up to the federal prosecutors. As we walk to the car, I see James in handcuffs. FBI agents leading him away. He looks at me one last time. The arrogance is gone. Only fear remains. 30 years of family court taught me one thing. Documentation wins. 3 months later, Emily opens her eyes. Daddy. Her voice is weak but clear. The doctors said it was impossible, that the brain damage was too severe. They were wrong. I'm here, sweetheart. She tries to sit up. I help her, careful of the IV line still attached to her arm. Where's James? I've been dreading this question for weeks. He's gone, Emily. He can't hurt you anymore. She nods slowly like she's not surprised. I remember some things. The car, the brakes not working. And James, he was angry about something. Money. You don't need to think about that now. Lily, she's with me. Safe, happy. She's been reading to you every day. Emily smiles for the first time in 4 months. The criminal trial concluded last week. James Carter, guilty on all counts. 25 years to life, no possibility of parole. Rachel Lee, 8 years, eligible for parole in 4. The civil lawsuit recovered everything. Emily's trust fund, the stolen assets, punitive damages totaling $1.2 million. James's medical license was permanently revoked. His yacht was seized by the FBI, auctioned to pay restitution. Lily runs into the hospital room, backpack bouncing. Mommy, you're awake! Emily hugs her daughter, both of them crying happy tears. I missed you so much, baby. Grandpa took good care of me. We made pancakes every Sunday, and we visited you every day. Dr. Elizabeth Rogers stops by during evening rounds. Emily, your recovery is remarkable. The neuroplasticity we're seeing is extraordinary. When can I go home? A few more weeks of physical therapy, but your prognosis is excellent. That night, Lily falls asleep in the chair beside Emily's bed. I cover her with a blanket. Dad. Yes. Thank you for protecting us. That's what fathers do. Emily takes my hand. Her grip is strong. I should have listened when you warned me about him. You were in love. You wanted to believe the best in people. I won't make that mistake again. Outside, the sun sets over Puget Sound. Lily stirs in her sleep, mumbling about tomorrow's spelling test. My family is whole again. Some people think vulnerability equals weakness. They forget that protecting family is the strongest force in the world. The machines beep steadily, life continuing, future secured. New boundaries established forever.